Hello there and welcome to Tom's Warhammer Minis. The Jade Lancers are the armoured cavalry might of Grand Cathay. The regiments are extremely skilled and disciplined and launch the most brutal, devastating charges to smite the foes of the Celestial Dragon. Now in this tutorial, I'm once again focusing on the banner bearer, as this model contains the most amount of details to cover. I'll be showcasing an easy to follow contrast painting guide, showing how to achieve the incredible box art colours in next to no time at all. During the tutorial, I'll give tips and guidance as I showcase how to get these incredible miniatures to an awesome battle ready state, as well as adding additional highlights to push the model even further to the parade level. So let's get started. Grab your paints and your brushes and let's get hobbying. It's time to begin with a mighty Jade Lancer, and there's a couple of things just to note, like I do at the beginning of each of my tutorials. The model has been primed in White Scar. It's what I do for the entire Grand Cathay range. And I've already textured the base because I'm going to be adding grass, I'm going to be adding tufts at the very end, so it's not going to be an issue if I accidentally get a bit of paint on the surface. And the texture paint I've used here is a Grellan Badland. Now it's also important to note, I'm going to be taking this tutorial into two parts, because there are two parts when doing a cavalry unit. You've got the rider, you've got the horse. It's as simple as that. We're going to be starting with the horse first, as you can see. Now when you look at the box art image, a lot of the horses are in a black skin tone. You'll see on the image that I'm going to be doing at the end of the video, which we'll see at the beginning, I've gone for a black skin tone, but we're going to use the contrast paints to get a nice effect by having an underlayer. This is how we can really make contrast paints work beautifully, because just slapping black on, it's not going to look good. It's just going to look rough. It's going to look blotchy. So to begin with, the colour I have used is Garagak Sewer, and I thinned this down ever so slightly. We're talking 2 parts Garagak Sewer, 1 part Lamy Medium to help with that flow. And quite simply, we're painting it over all of the horse skin. So take your time, and it's always good practice to try and be neat. We don't want to catch the edges, but we can correct the edges later on with White Scar. But I wouldn't recommend doing that yet, because as I say, we're going to go over the black paint, so there's no point correcting it now to then do the black to then have to correct it again. It's just a waste of time. So we've got things like the ears, the mouth. You've got this little neck section here, which is exposed flesh, and that's the real tricky part. So just take your time, use a real small airbrush there. Go around each leg. The way I start it is do a leg, do the inside, do the leg, do the belly, do a leg, do a leg. Don't worry too much about drying lines. The Lamy Medium is going to help the flow. Obviously don't just leave it and abandon it. And there we will have it. The hair, which we've got the top knot here, we've got the tail here, we're going to be doing in a separate colour. Next up, I'm beginning the black detailing, and I want to distinguish it from the usual Black Templar that I do. And if you've seen my other tutorials, you'll know exactly what I mean, where I go down the grey-blue highlight route. So, to make this distinction, the colour I'm using here is Black Legion. Now, you'll notice I have applied it on the flag, but let's focus on the horse first. This is for the tail and the top knot hair that we see, as well as the hooves. I'm not worrying about the horse hair that's down here. You'll see on the box art that it still retains that brown colour. It's the skin that we're going to blend around it into black, and we'll blend it towards the hair, but we'll do that in the next stage. So, pure Black Legion on there, on there. Now for the flag, I've also done this because again it's the box art colour, and if you've seen my Jade Warrior tutorial, you know exactly how we do this. We're focusing on gravity here. Start at the top, be very careful, use a small airbrush around each of the edges because it just helps you have more control. We don't have to worry about drying lines. Apply a full coat on and it's going to look quite blotchy. Let it dry completely. Once it's dried, apply a second coat for this rich black finish. Nice and simple. Take your time. It's time to create our proper skin tone for the horse, and the colour I'm using here is Black Templar, and I have thinned it down ever so slightly. Now Black Templar is very translucent to begin with. It's quite dark obviously when it gets into the recesses, but thin it down too heavily it becomes too transparent. So the ratio mix that we're doing here is 3 parts Black Templar, 1 part Lamy Medium, and the Lamy Medium will really help the flow here as well. So where we painted it, essentially the entire horse skin. So the mouth, the ears, and then the main body that you see here. I've also used this mix just to shade the Black Legion that we've done, not the flag, just the hair here and the top knot. And this is going to really protect it because you've got these sharper edges here, which when rubbed would normally just chip away the paint. The lamy medium will just act as a little mini varnish. So there is method to that madness, so to speak. Take your time, apply it all over, and once it's done, this is the stage where if you have caught any other areas, I caught a couple of the tassels here when painting the skin in between, you can correct it with white scar. Now there are rather a lot of jade details across this miniature, and it's actually better to do this now rather than later because it's quite a strong colour and we don't want to accidentally ruin our metallics or the brown leather details or anything else. So by doing it now, we've got it locked in place. We can fix with any white scar later on should we need to. Now to create this colour scheme, we're taking Eldari Emerald, and it's thinned down ever so slightly. 2 parts Eldari Emerald to 1 part Lamy Medium mixed in a palette. And I use the Sister of Skulls palette for all my mixing. I'd use the box art as reference for the imaging here, but they don't actually have a good 360 anymore. So to give you an idea, we're talking this strip here at the bottom, goes all the way around. You've got all the tassels across the wraps and the harness. You've got all the armour here, and the beauty of it, because the armour's in metallic, we don't have to be neat. Obviously don't catch any of the other details, but where it's metallics, we can be a little bit messy and have that freedom. We've got the plume of hair, we've got the 2 flags, we've got the trim of the shoulders, you've got it on the elbow here. It's very hard to see where it is on the actual elbow here, and it's going to get covered up anyway because of the shield, so don't worry about that one. And yeah, you've got the front here as well, and then you've got just around the eye socket here, and it goes around there. So take your time. That gives you an idea of where I've placed it, matching the box as I can see. And you've got a little bit of the saddle here too. Not the bottom part, that's going to be red, not that top bit there because that's going to be brown. Again, you've got this as a reference. You've got the website image as well. Next up, I'm shading all of those Eldari Emerald details, and the colour I'm using here is pure Coelia green shade. Best to do it now like we did before because we don't want to catch other areas before. We're not thinning it down, as I say, just apply it straight over all the details we've previously painted. It's going to tint it, it's going to shift the colour ever so slightly, it's going to look really nice, and because it's a shade paint, it has the slight properties of a varnish, which is always useful to have. So again, just take your time, we know where the details are now, just apply it one section at a time. Not too heavily, and always check for pooling, though with this kind of model, you shouldn't have to worry too much. Next up, it's time to focus on all of the brown leather details, and if you've seen my other tutorials, you'll know the first colour that I use, and that is Gore-Grunter Fur. It's not thinned down, it's just applied with a small airbrush, especially going around those edges because we want to be nice, careful and neat. So things like here, we don't want to catch the green. If you do, just quickly wash your brush, and while it's damp, just get rid of that paint, and it can return to the green that we've created. And while we've got it to hand, we might as well just do all the leather that's across the things. That's the inside of the shield, the main warrior himself, then you've got the leather around the horse. Obviously, we don't want to do the underpart because that's going to be red. And I just really would recommend, once again, using the box art, if you're unsure, as reference material. And if you followed my other tutorials, then you've probably guessed it. We're shading that Gore-Grunter Fur, and we're using Cygor Brown, mixed with Lamy Medium in a 1:1 ratio. It thins it down, it won't darken the colour excessively, but it gives it a much richer, more defined look. Again, take your time, be neat around the details, and again, if you do get it on the little tassel bits here, we can correct with white scar. Next up, we're focusing on all of the red details, and I've got 2 colours here, and again, if you've seen the Jade Warriors tutorial, you know exactly what we're doing. First off, we're taking Blood Angel's Red, and this is essentially going to be over most of the model. We're not doing the flag with this one, it's the character and the horse. So we're talking about all the soft furnishings, so the tassels, the cloth of the rider, around the edge of the shield, but also between the arms, so you've got all the soft cloth there on both sides. Just be careful here, because obviously you've got to get a small brush into that area. I'm not worrying about the little ropes that keep the armour held to it. We're going to paint those in a darker colour later, so we might as well just be messy and just paint straight over the Blood Angel's Red. For the actual banner bearer, and this is where it really applies only to this character, I'm taking Bile Red. Now when painting across long vertical poles like this, it will get blotchy if you were to use a different red. Now Barl Red is very flat, it's very bright and very vivid, but it makes a really neat base coat. So just take your time, obviously be careful as you get to the white area. Again, I use a small airbrush just to get it into the recesses, but not touching the white. Take your time, apply it all over, and we can move on to the next set of colours. Next up, I'm taking Black Templar, and I'm using this over a variety of details. This is the boots, all the straps, the belts, and the harnesses. So take your time, and I would use the box art as reference if you're not sure, but you've got the belts that go around the sides, you've got the belt here, boots, you've got a strap that goes under the belly, strap, harness, you've got a bit of leather detailing just behind the ears, and again, all of it opposite on the other side too. Gives us a nice recess shading, but a brighter edge highlighting that's already in place. It's going to be able to let us have an easier time, especially when we apply the blue greyish highlights later on. Now for the flag, I am adding a bit of Soul Blight grey. We're not doing it all over, we want that pure white to remain in place. This is for all the recess detailing that's between these tassely bits of the flag. So I have painted the underside and the bottom side, just a very small amount, just to give that natural bit of shading. Next up, we're focusing on the skin tone, and the colour I like to use for the Grand Cafe range is Darko Flesh. Now, from what I can see for the riders, and it's certainly for this one, it's both hands, and just a tiny section of the face that you can barely see. Now, I really recommend here just having the tiniest amount on the tip of your brush, because if your brush is overloaded, it's going to be too heavy in that big recessed area. Finally, we're focusing on the horse. For the ones that have open mouths like this, I'm assuming that they all have, I've painted the teeth in Skeleton Horde. Nice and simple, but we need to let it dry completely before adding Volupus Pink. Now, Volupus Pink is for the tongue. So it's a small amount that you can just see just sticking out there. The reason we need to dry, if it's too wet with the Skeleton Horde, the Volupus Pink will just pull in and mess your colours up. So paint one, whichever way around you want to do it. Let it fully dry, paint the other one. And then we can move on to the metallic detailing. And it's time for the last of our base coating colours, and we're focusing on the metallic details here. So for all of our silver details, I've used Iron Hand Steel. The Jade Warriors are known for very bright silver colours, and this is the perfect base coat for that. There's quite a lot to do, and we really need to be careful now when we go onto these little scaly parts, because we don't want to catch the areas of contrast painting that we've done previously. Once that's all applied, our next colour is Retributor Armour. There aren't many gold details here. Again, use the box art, but you can pretty much see them all from here. So we have got the horse's eyes, not its actual eyes, but it's the metal covering that's covering it. You've got the little circle parts that are holding the tassels. You've got the front emblem here. The difference between the Jade Warriors and the Jade Lancers is they do have golden detail on their helmets at the front, a nice crest there above the head. And then for the banner bearer, as you can see, you've got this bit here. Again, take your time, be careful not to catch the contrast painted details we've done earlier. And finally, we've got a bit of shading to do. So first off, I've taken Nuln Oil, and I've applied this over a lot of different details. Essentially, we've got all the silver details, all of the Blood Angels red, all of our Gorgrunter Fur and Cycle brown details, and all the Black Templar details. And I've also applied it over the wooden pole, which we did in Barl Red. Obviously, once again, be very careful when you're doing this area, but apply it in and do a nice little recess shade. Really does enrich all of those details. Once that's done, we're moving on to all of our gold details. And the shade paint I've used here is Reikland Flesh Shade. And finally, if you're copying my base where I've used the Agrellan Badland, I've shaded it with Targor Rage Shade. And once that's done, our model is officially battle ready, and it looks absolutely incredible. With so much detail, it looks like it's ready to be displayed. But we're not leaving it there, we're going to take it to the next stage with some highlights. It's time to begin highlighting, and we're covering the first set of highlights here. These are the ones that are going to take the longest. So let's start with the longest first, and it's going to be all of our jade colouring. And the colour I'm using here is Gorse Blaster Green. There are a lot of details to cover, so just take it section by section, one at a time, get it completely done before moving on to the next. Once that's done, we're going to focus on all of the red details, and this is the Barl Red as well as the Blood Angels Red that we've done. And the colour I'm using here is Wild Rider Red. Not so much as the jade details, but there's still quite a bit. Following on from that, we're focusing on all the brown leather details, and the colour I'm using here is Deathclaw Brown. Again, there's quite a bit to do to take it section by section. Now for our black details, there were two blacks that we used, Black Legion and Black Templar, and I've used different colours for both sets. So for all of our Black Legion, which includes the horse's tail, the top knot hair, the hooves, as well as the flag, though the flag doesn't have much and there's going to be a huge transfer covering it anyway, but there are just a couple of big highlights that you can see. And the colour I've used here is Storm Vermin Fur. And finally, for all of our Black Templar highlights, because they've got that greyish blue tint already because of the way the paint is, I've highlighted with rust grey. So these are things like the straps, the harness, the boots. And don't forget, you've got the strap that goes all the way under the horse's belly too. My next highlight is Carrack Stone. Now, to put it simply, I haven't picked out all the horse's muscles, and since we're not doing proper edge highlighting, but the most prominent muscles, I've done small highlights just to pick out the curvature of those muscles. And for all the hair around the hooves, I've highlighted those too. Now with the Carrack Stone, I've also highlighted the string, just where his mouth would be in this bit of the brown leather. I've just picked them out, as you can see. Now my next highlight after that is Flayed One Flesh, and this is for our skin tone. Now, I've really been rather selective where I've put this. So I've got a small dot on his nose, and then obviously the dots on the knuckles, and joints, and the edges where you can see here. I haven't bothered with the hand and the shield. Now you got to really think, as a miniature painter, does it need a highlight? Now you can absolutely do it in sub-assemblies for those expert painters, but you've got to really consider, can you actually see the hand? You know, is a person, or is it you who's going to notice it? Because a person's not going to pick up your model and really examine deep into those areas because you can barely see it. Even from any angle, it is extremely hard to see. Now with contrast painter, you can absolutely get the dark oak paint in there and paint the hand, but does it need a highlight? For me, I haven't bothered. It's the same for the eyes. They are hard to see. It's really got to be down to personal choice. I haven't bothered because I'm going to end up messing the details of the model. So that is down to you, but for the skin, we're really focusing just on the nose and this hand here. Next up, we're highlighting our gold details. The colour I'm using is Liberator Gold. One of the real areas to focus on is the eyes. In a sense, it's not really such a highlight, it's a complete relayer, leaving the recessed shading in because it's got a real bright gold in the box art. Once that's done, we're taking Stormhost Silver, and I'm highlighting all of the silver details. One of the tips I would give here for all these scales, because there's a large amount, get a bit of Stormhost Silver on the tip of a small airbrush, just go horizontal, catching each and every top edge, just to give a highlight as like the light would be hitting downwards. Take your time, there is a lot to do here. Now as we go across the silver details, there are these little gems. So for like this horse, you've got it on the scabbard, got it on his helmet, you've got it on the crest under here, and for the banner bearer you've got it on the bottom of the pole. Now I've painted those in Stormhost Silver too. And once they're dried, or once the highlighting is complete, I've taken a small amount of Eldari Emerald on the tip of my brush and I've painted it over each of those gems. Now let that dry, and to give that gem that shiny look, I've taken Ardcoat, the gloss varnish, and just to put a small amount across each bit. And while I've got the Ardcoat, I've set up the surface area for the transfer, which I'll be applying in the next stage. So I've done that, and I've also applied a small amount of gloss varnish here, just because you can add a little symbol from the transfer sheet on here, like the Heavy Metal team did. I'm not going to show how to do the transfers on this tutorial. If you are interested in little tips on that one, go and check out my Jade Warriors tutorial, also available on my channel right now. And once that transfer is applied, all we've got then to do is the base, and like normal, I like to put flowers on for Grand Cafe, but you can decorate the base as you see fit. Sealing our transfers with Storm Shield and detailing the base means our Jade Lancer is finally finished, and what a fantastic miniature this is. Sometimes painting cavalry can be rather tedious, but with a straightforward colour scheme like this, and basic horse details to paint, it's quite easy and rather enjoyable too. The heavy armour, I feel, makes it easier to paint and it just looks grand. Now if this video has helped, why not check out my others? I'm the only YouTuber out there covering the entire Grand Cafe range with full contrast plus highlighting tutorials. And I have at this moment in time only 3 more planned to do. That's how much of the range I've covered. And if the tutorial has helped you get that colour scheme in place, then please click that like button. Subscribe to catch the latest videos, share to help others who are painting these awesome models too. Supporting me means so much, and it means I get to support you, the awesome Warhammer community in the hobby we all love. Until the next time though, do look after yourselves, and happy hobbying.